Welcome into the Stack Shack Sports Show. Today, I'm going to be revealing all of my picks for the NFL playoffs. My bracket. We'll be filling out the NFL's Super Bowl Challenge bracket here. A lot of great storylines across the league in the playoff matchups. We've got the Stafford going back to Detroit. We've got Tyreek playing Kansas City in a blizzard. We've got Buffalo made it into the 2 seed, but playing Pittsburgh, who's always dangerous. Philly's falling apart as they go and play Tampa Bay. Mike McCarthy facing his old team with Green Bay coming to town. And the first game we'll talk about today, CJ Stroud and the Texans going up against Joe Flacco and the Browns. Wow, what a difference that is. One of the oldest quarterbacks in the league versus a rookie first-year player. This one's tough for me to pick. My heart wants the Texans to make a little bit of a run, but unfortunately, I think it's got to be Cleveland. They're the more experienced team. I think Myles Garrett really shows up. The Texans do have a slight weakness at offensive line, and I think CJ Stroud's going to be trouble, and I don't know. I'm just on the Joe Flacco hype train, man. I feel like he's playing at an incredibly high level. I'm feeling like this is a bit of a Cinderella story. Honestly, it's unfortunate that we have the two Cinderella teams kind of facing off against each other. I think Cleveland gets the win there. Kansas City, Miami. This one's going to Kansas City. I'm sorry. The forecast right now is like wind chill -30, I saw. Miami and Tua, I think specifically Tua hasn't won a game under 40 degrees at kickoff time in his career. There's some crazy stat with that. Maybe he's won 1 or 2, but they are not good in cold weather, and Kansas City is going to be really, really cold. Arrowhead is going to be a blizzard. So I give the edge to Kansas City. I think Kansas City runs the ball a little better, and I think Miami, those injuries on defense, especially in the linebacking core, that's really going to cause some problems. We're going to probably talk best bets of the week at the end of this show, and spoiler, I'm taking Pacheco to have a big day in Kansas City. So Kansas City gets that win, I think. Do they cover? I don't know. We'll talk about that later when we look at the lines. Moving on to the other blizzard. Buffalo, they're saying that fans might not be able to get to the stadium. There's tons of snow. Pittsburgh versus Buffalo. I'm going to give it to Buffalo. We're taking the quarterback here, right? We are taking the better quarterback in this scenario. Josh Allen is better than whoever the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to put out. The Bills have found a bit of a run game in the last, few weeks of the season with Cook and all of that. So I give the edge to the Bills here. Pittsburgh, great story. Incredible that they made the playoffs. Good job, Mike Tomlin. There you go. Moving on over to the NFC. We'll come back. Don't worry, I'll finish it all the way out to my Super Bowl champions. But NFC, we got the Bucks and the Eagles. I'm picking the Bucks. This is kind of a wild pick, I think. But I really feel like the mojo in the building with Philadelphia. They don't feel like a team that thinks they can win. It almost feels to me like Philadelphia doesn't think they can win. They're falling apart. There's rumors even today that they could fire their coach should something bad happen in the playoffs here. There's injury issues, even with those players playing. They're coming off of injuries. So are they really 100%? I think I'm giving this to Tampa Bay. Now, will they beat the 49ers? We'll talk about that in a moment. Detroit and LA. Matt Stafford going back to Detroit. This one is wild because Detroit is so good at home, and the Rams really haven't had the mojo, but they're getting it at the end of the season. Kyron Williams has exploded. Stafford's looking good. They've got people healthy. Nakua and Cup are there. I think Los Angeles comes away with a win in Detroit. Big upset for the Rams. I think they get the win. So we're taking an upset there. Green Bay, Dallas. Green Bay's defense is not very good, and that Dallas offense loves to play against mediocre defenses, right? The one big critique we'll have against Dallas is, hey, they can't beat really good teams. You know, when they face a good defense, that offense is a little CeeDee Lamb dependent. You take him away, they're not as good. I don't think Green Bay is going to be able to stop CeeDee Lamb. Dak is going to throw it all over the field. Big points for Dallas. I'm not sure what the over-under is on that, but we'll take a look at that in a moment. Moving on to the AFC divisional round. We'll do the divisional round next. Cleveland, Baltimore. Baltimore's winning this. And then we get a rematch of Kansas City, Buffalo. Man. I mean, y'all all remember what happened last time these two faced off in the playoffs. An iconic all-time playoff game. I think Buffalo gets the win. I think they just have a little bit too much power. It's also going to be in Buffalo because they're the 2 seed. So there they go. Buffalo gets revenge on Kansas City. They're at home. It's going to be cold. Now, Kansas City knows how to play in the cold. It's going to be freezing there this week as well. But Buffalo, home field advantage. I think you trust Buffalo's weapons just a little bit more than you do Kansas City's. Well, maybe not just a little. I trust Stephon Diggs a lot more than anybody in that Kansas City wide receiver room. And I think that gives them the edge. Back over to the NFC. Los Angeles is going to give it a good fight, but San Francisco is loaded. They are. They are loaded. And as long as there's no injuries, which right now there aren't, we have a little bit of a McCaffrey situation, but they get a week off. They're going to be fine. They should be healthy. So as long as nobody gets hurt in that game, I think that's a pretty easy lockup for San Francisco. And I'm picking Dallas over Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay, gets a win over the Eagles, but they're not as good as Dallas. Again, who does Dallas like to play? The somewhat mediocre teams. It's interesting to me. You'll notice I got the 1 and 2 seeds. Now, I don't know necessarily that this is the favorites making it to the NFC Conference Championships. I'm not sure what the money lines would be on, KC, Buffalo. Not sure. But 1 seeds and 2 seeds. I know, not super out of the ordinary. Baltimore gets the win. And then we got this game, which I don't know. I think I'm going to give the edge to San Francisco, and we've got a rematch. Spoiler alert, they already spoiled the script for us, by the way. Look at the colors. Yep, purple and red. There's the Super Bowl. And I think it's going to be a good year for the Harbaugh family. I think they are going to win both the NCAA, FBS, College Football Playoff National Championship, and the Super Bowl in the same year. I think that's what's going to happen. Lamar Jackson is too explosive. San Francisco will not be able to keep up with Baltimore. I think Baltimore is the most complete team I've seen this season. Lamar Jackson's playing at a high level. So here it is. I feel very good about my picks, actually. The only one that I think I go a little seesaw on is this Philadelphia-Tampa Bay, because I feel like Philly is just the better team. They're just not playing up to their potential right now. So we will have to see, but I feel really good about my picks. Let me know down below in the comments what you think. Who do you got winning the Super Bowl? Am I crazy for picking Tampa Bay over Philly? I don't know. I don't think I'm crazy. LA over Detroit, that's another big upset. I think I'm feeling pretty good about this. So those are my picks. Let me know in the comments down below what you think, and let's get into our best bets of the week. So that is it. I'm going to sign in and submit that as soon as I'm done recording this video. But let's move over to our sportsbook here and see what kind of lines we can get. Starting with Browns-Texans, I don't think this is a good line. Again, like I said, this is an either-way game, I think. Kansas City-Miami. This one, I'm hearing a lot of people like this line, but a lot of people like it in both ways. There's an argument to be made. Miami, plus 4.5. In a blizzard, like 4.5 points is a decent amount. I would almost argue that any other team besides Miami, I would be like, ooh, in a blizzard, you're giving me 4.5? Yeah, I think I want that. But it is Miami, and they really do struggle in cold weather. You know, I know it's a meme, but they really do struggle in cold weather. I think the under on total is kind of interesting here, because maybe there won't be a ton of points scored. Steelers-Bills. So I'm pretty confident in Buffalo getting this win. 9.5 is so many points in what should be really bad weather conditions. I mean, look at that. Look at the over-under. 34. That's 17-17. 9.5 is an absolutely massive number of points for that weather. And because of that, that is one of my bets of the week. Even though I think Buffalo's going to win, I just don't see them covering 9.5 in the weather. And you can look at that over-under and realize, yeah, they're telling us something. They only expect 34 points scored. That's 17-17. You're telling me this game couldn't be like 21-13? That seems like a reasonable number. So, again, I think because of that, we're going plus 9.5. Well, spoiler alert, I picked the Rams to win this game outright. I actually kind of like the money line here. So that's my other bet of the week. Then moving down here, I don't care about the Eagles or the Bucks. But I told you before, there is a bet I do like in this Kansas City Chiefs game. And that is my third and final bet of the week. I really, really like the number I'm getting on carries at least. When I say Pacheco at 20 carries. I love that line as well. So there's the bets. We got Pacheco at least 20 carries, plus 196. I know it's a little aggressive, but I think Kansas City's going to want to run the ball in the weather that they're expecting. Super high wins. Another decent bet, if you're looking at Pacheco or Kansas City game, another decent bet would be to look at the over-under receptions. I think Travis Kelce is a decent bet. And I actually think Durham Smythe might be a decent bet, although he's, not super involved in that offense. But because of the wind, I think the tight ends might get used a little bit more. Pacheco over 3.5 is not a terrible idea either on receptions, because I envision you're not going to want to throw the ball downfield a lot. You might take the under on Jalen Waddle, but they use him enough not down the field, right? Tyreek Hill, he's going to get some catches on little swing passes. But that's why I lean a little bit towards the Kelce's, the Smythes, the Pachecos, tight ends and running backs on receptions, because it's a good option in the snow and the wind to dump it off to your running backs and your tight ends. Dump offs are going to be key. Not a lot of downfield going to be happening when you got 30-mile-an-hour winds or something expected. So avoid any sort of like big completions or anything of that nature probably, but because of the weather, I think over under receptions might be interesting, but I like my over 20 carries. At least 20 carries. So that means 20 carries or more. You could think of this as over 19 carries. 20 carries or more for Pacheco. It's a good number. It's a bit aggressive, but it's my bet of the week. I'm pretty confident about it. So those are my 3 bets. Steelers plus 9.5. Even though I think Buffalo's going to win, I just don't see them covering. Rams money line. If you're feeling a little worried about that, take them plus the 3. I think plus the 3 is fine. But we're getting a little aggressive. We're looking for some good payouts, some good odds here. So plus 145 on the Rams to win, plus 196 on Pacheco to get at least 20 carries, and plus 9.5 points at minus 113 for the Steelers to win. Those are my locks of the week. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think of my bets. Tell me what you think about my predictions. Share this with a friend. Give us a like to help out this video in the YouTube algorithm. And we'll see you next week for a recap. If you want to follow my live reaction to all the games this week, go follow me on Twitter. I will be live tweeting my thoughts as the games are happening. We'll be able to sweat the bets together. And hopefully, after this weekend, we'll be riding high and mighty just like we were after last weekend. We went 3 for 4 last weekend. Let's see if we can go 2 for 3 or 3 for 3 this week. Hitting the Pacheco bet, hitting the Rams bet would be huge wins for us. So we will have to wait and see. Going to be a great weekend of NFL football.